In this video, I'll be covering the Roblox Studio basics. If you want to learn how to script, you need to know how to use Roblox Studio. So when you first open Roblox Studio, you have access to all of the experiences that you had in the past. So you have access to the historic of all of your templates. So that's what you can see here. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna create a new experience. So every time you create a new experience, you're just gonna have a spawning point and a base plate here. So it's gonna be like a sort of blank template. Most of Roblox developers use these templates to script, and it's the most commonly used. So here on the top, you have home, avatar, UI, script, model, plugins, and your own custom tab. In this video, we're only gonna be covering the home tab, because as a beginner that is new to scripting, you're gonna be using this the most. So what you need to know for now is that on the top left, you can either test your game or run your game. We're gonna see the difference between all of those in future videos. So for now, you just need to know what testing does. So when you press the blue button, it puts your character into the game, and when you want to leave the simulation, meaning you want to leave the game, you just press the red button here. So now that you know how to play the game, I will show you how to move things in this base plate. So when you press select, you can just drag parts wherever you want, right? So you can just place them freely. When you use move, you're gonna have those vectors, and you're gonna be able to move the part either in the y-axis, the x-axis, or the z-axis. So this is what it does. So this is called the moving tool. You don't really have to know the names, you just need to know what they do. Next, we have the scaling tool. So you can use it to scale the blocks and the 3D objects. And finally, we have the rotating tool. It enables you to rotate parts. There's also the transform tool. So it's a combination of all of the tools that we just saw. You can rotate, you can scale, you can move all at once. But in this series, we're gonna mostly stick to these 4 tools because it's the most commonly used. Next, if you want to add a part inside of the game, you just press this button. So you just press part, and it's gonna spawn a new part that you can freely move depending on the tool that you use. You can also add other 3D objects such as spheres, wedges, corner wedges, and cylinders. Most people often use spheres and parts. Now let's say I want to delete those 3. Now that I spawned those 3D objects, I want to delete them. So all you do, right click and press delete. If you want to go back and respawn them, you just press Ctrl Z. You can also duplicate the parts just like that by pressing duplicate, and you can also copy and paste just like that. So now that you know how to do this, we don't need those 3D parts anymore, we're gonna delete them. So now we're basically almost done. I just showed you like the things that you're mostly gonna use in Roblox Studio. But before ending the video, you absolutely need to know how to use those 3 things. First is the toolbox. So toolbox is used to insert all kinds of things. In Roblox, you have models, plugins, audios, fonts, decals, mesh parts, and even videos. So with toolbox, you can access all of this stuff for free. And most of the time, most advanced developers don't really use them, but it's pretty nice to use when you're a beginner. In this section, you can see all of the available free models. So let's say I want to insert a car, I just click on it, drag it, and put it inside of the game. And in this folder, you have your own stuff. We'll be covering in future videos how to get your own models, own plugins, your own decals, etc. Furthermore, we have Explorer. This is gonna be the thing that you're gonna use the most as a developer. It contains all sort of stuff that will be able to control how the game works. First, we have this folder. It is called Workspace. Workspace is everything that you see inside of the game. So we have a base plate. You see this huge block. This is called the base plate. We have the spawn location. This is where players spawn when they enter the game. And there's also the camera. Next, we have players. So every time a player joins the game, the player gets included inside of this folder. I will show you what I mean by that. So let's say we test the game. So I press play. You see my user is this. When you open the folder player, you're gonna see my user, Arabel 9, and you're gonna see all of the stuff that is inside of my player. And it's gonna do the same for every player that joins the game. So all of the players that will be inside of the game will be inside of this. Next, we have lighting. So this controls the lighting, so the sun, the sky, fog, sun rays, and a lot of stuff related to lighting. Next, we have material service, replicated first, replicated storage. You will know in the future what they do. For now, just stick on what I explained so far. Then we have server script service. Since you want to become a scripter, I assume that you know what a script is. Most of the scripts that you will be doing will be placed inside of server script service. We have server storage, starter GUI, starter pack, starter player, starter character script, starter player script. So those two folders will also contain scripts. What you need to remember for now is that workspace include everything that is inside of the 3D dimension game. Players include all of the players inside of the game. Lighting is pretty self-explanatory. It controls the lighting. Server script service contains script, and starter character scripts and starter player scripts also contain scripts. Next, we have properties. So if you remember how to spawn a part, you see how the part is gray? I don't like that. I want it to be red. How do I do that? I just go inside of properties, and this contains all of the aspects of the part. So I can change the color of the part. So we said I want it to be red. So this is the color palette. You can choose between all of those colors. Now let's say I want to be really specific, and I want it to be a different sort of red. I have this. I just press here, color, and let's say I want it to be dark red. I can control the specificity of the color using this other coloring option. Then I can also change the material of the part. So this is all the materials you can choose from. Let's say I want this part to look like a rock. I want it to be a red rock. So now it looks more like a rock. Let's say I want it to look like fabric. Now it looks like fabric. It looks like a carpet. So properties is also pretty self-explanatory. It allows you to change the properties of a selected model or a part. I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's say I want this part to become bigger, right? So I use the scale tool to make it larger. Notice here, there are some numbers. There are some number values. Each one are related to a property. So this is for the size. So I can control the size on the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. If you're not really familiar with the axis yet, I have a separate video on that, so you can go check it out. Then we have C-frame, origin. You'll learn more about those two in future videos. Don't worry about those two for now. Right now we're just going to focus on size, right? So let's say I want to make it bigger. You notice how on the x-axis it's 4 units, on the y-axis it's 1 unit, z-axis it's 2 units. Let's say I want on the y-axis, let's say I want it to be 3 units. I can either just resize the part, change it to 3 units, or if I want it to be really specific, I can directly just change it here. So I make it 3 units. So this is the property of the size. Now let's say I want the part to be kind of transparent. So I want it to be kind of see-through. There's this transparency value that you can change. So when it's at 0, that means we are fully able to see the part. When the value is at 1, that means the part is fully transparent. So if I want to be kind of see-through, I'll just put it like at the middle, and that's gonna make it kind of transparent. I'll just put it back at 0. So let's say I don't like the fact that there's a shadow behind my part. So I can turn this off, and this property is called cast shadow. Now it's turned on. If I turn it off, it's just gonna remove any shadows caused by the sun. So I'll turn it right back on. Now let's say I have a lot of parts. So to duplicate the parts, you can just press Ctrl D. I'll make them multiple colors. Now let's say I have those 3 blocks, and I only want to be able to select blue block, the green block, and the yellow block. So let's say I only want to be able to move those 3 parts. I don't want to select the red part. I want it to stay like that. I want to make it so I'm not able to move it again. So super simple. What I do to solve this issue, I just go inside of properties and I enable the locked property. What this does is that when I press the select tool, I'm able to select the blue block, right? I can move it around. I can select the green block. I can move it around. I can select the yellow block. I can move it around. But when it comes to the red block, I'm not able to move it. This is because it is locked. Now let's say I locked its position and I kind of made a mistake and I want to move it again. What I can do to solve this issue is that I go access it directly inside of Explorer since it's locked. Right? I'm not able to select it. Then when you go inside of Explorer, you notice that we have those 4 parts. Those parts is the parts that we duplicated earlier. So those 4 blocks. Notice how when I select all of those 4, there's one in particular that doesn't select. And it's this one. Hence, we're able to guess that it's the red part. However, it can get confusing. So what we do is that instead of having 4 parts that are the same name, we can just rename all of those parts. So we can put custom names so we know exactly which part part is referring to which block. So in Roblox Studio, there's two ways you can rename something. Either you go directly inside of Explorer and you right click on the thing you want to rename and you directly rename it, or you go inside of the properties and you go to name. So here you're gonna be able to change the name. See how it changes inside of properties and inside of Explorer? So everything is related. Now I can go ahead and do the same for those 4 blocks. So now this is way less confusing. So I just press on red block and I disable the locked option. Now I can select it again. So that was it for this video. I know this video was really short because I only showed you the aspects that you will mostly use inside of Roblox Studio. Now I highly encourage you to go and mess around by yourself inside of Roblox Studio and try to figure things out by yourself. So go and mess around because this is the way that you learn way faster than just looking at YouTube videos all day. So that was it for me. See you in the next video. Take care.